And a good evening, everyone. J7409 Sky News here with you for the evening update. This is the 4:59 p.m. update. Time that I'm doing this now is 5:54 p.m. EDT. Well, check it all out. We'll start over here with Katia. She's Category 1. Her winds are 80 miles per hour. The barometric pressure is 980 millibars. Located 21.6 north, 94.6 west, she is nearly stationary. And the reason she is stationary, I will show you in a few moments, okay? Jose is a Category 3. Jose's winds are up to 120 miles per hour. The pressure is 966 millibars. Jose is located at 15.5 north, 52.4 west, and Jose is moving at a brisk 18 miles per hour west-northwest. Irma is still a Category 5 with winds of 175 miles per hour. The barometric pressure, 922 millibars, located 20.9 north, 71.1 west, moving at 16 miles per hour west-northwest. That's what's going on at the latest update here with the trio. And what we have here, of course, is the National Hurricane Center's track for Hurricane Irma at this time. You can see the watches, the warnings, all of it. She's a major hurricane, and she will remain that way until she hits Florida, okay? She will then drop down in intensity when she gets into Georgia around Monday to either a Category 1, 2, or 3, more likely a 3 or a 2. But then she's going to take off and speed, and by Tuesday afternoon, 24 hours later, she's up here in Kentucky. Not Kentucky, listen to me, Tennessee. She's up here in Tennessee, and she is a tropical storm. Now, at this point, when she's all the way up here in Tennessee on Tuesday at 2 p.m., she will still have winds from 39 to 73 miles per hour. You can see right here, note the cone contains the probable path of the storm center, but does not show the size of the storm. Hazardous conditions can occur outside of the cone. You have to remember that. Okay, she's going to clip across all the way down in the mountains, the deep mountains of North Carolina. We still will probably get some rain from it over here on the other end of the state. That's how big she is. You need to keep that in mind. Big storm, path is one thing, but it's not everything. So just keep that in mind. Of course, we all know we don't have to be told twice that Irma is extremely dangerous. We all know that. And it's very near the Turks and islands out that way right now. And it's headed for the Bahamas as I'm speaking to you. On its way to the Bahamas. And hurricane conditions are expected along portions of the north coast of Cuba. Now, the barometric pressure in this thing is unreal. 27.23 inches. When we start to see that go up, that means she's weakening some. Starts to go down, well, she's strengthening more. We just got to keep our eyes on her, okay? Now, the government of Cuba has issued a hurricane warning for the Cuban provinces, and this includes the Cuban Keys along the north shore of these provinces. Storm surge watches and warnings. Storm surge watches in effect for Jupiter Inlet southward around the Florida Peninsula to Bonita Beach and the Florida Keys. Hurricane warning is in effect for the Dominican Republic, Haiti, southeastern Bahamas, and you can see all the other little places, the Cuban provinces, central Bahamas, and northwestern Bahamas. We have a hurricane watch in place that is in effect now for Jupiter Inlet southward around the Florida Peninsula to Bonita Beach, Florida Keys, Lake Okeechobee, Florida Bay, and the Cuban provinces. Tropical storm warning in effect for the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and some of the Cuban provinces at this time. Storm surge. Okay, I want to repeat this again. I said it in the midday update, but if you have a storm surge watch, it means there is a possibility of life-threatening water coming your way from the rising water moving inland from the coastline. Now, in the indicated locations during the next 48 hours for a deception of area risk, I'll take you over to that page and we'll check it out, okay? Hurricane warning means that the hurricane conditions are expected somewhere within the warning area, and you should have all your preparations to protect life and property. They should be rushed to completion if you're under a warning. The watch, well, that means the conditions are possible within the watch area, and a watch is typically issued. You usually have 2 days, 48 hours before the anticipated first occurrence of the tropical storm force winds, conditions that make outside preparations, well, difficult or dangerous. In other words, you just shouldn't be out there in it. And the tropical storm warning means same thing, interest in these areas are expected somewhere within the warning area of a tropical storm warning. Interest elsewhere in Cuba and Florida should monitor the progress of Irma. See how Irma keeps creeping up. Okay, that's what you got to do there. 48-hour outlook. Well, the distinct eye of Hurricane Irma was located latitude 20.9 north, longitude 71.1 west, and Irma is moving to the west-northwest near 16 miles per hour. And this general motion is expected to continue for the next couple of days now, with some decrease in forward speed. Now, on the forecast track, the eye of Irma should continue to move between Hispaniola and the Turks this evening. The core of the hurricane will then move between the north coast of Cuba and the Bahamas during the next day or two. The winds are 175 miles per hour. We all know Irma is still a Category 5, and some fluctuations. It's going to fluctuate up and down in intensity. That's likely. You're going to see it. Don't flip out if you do. It's going to happen more than likely in the next day or two. No matter what happens with its fluctuation, Irma is still forecast to remain a powerful Category 4 or 5 hurricane during the next couple of days. Now, the hurricane force winds extend out 70 miles from the center, and the tropical force storm winds extend out 185 miles. And once again, this is one of the lowest barometric pressures I think I've ever seen. Storm surge, a combination of dangerous storm surge and the tide, will cause normally dry areas near the coast to be flooded by rising waters moving inland from the shoreline. The water is expected to reach the following heights above ground if the peak surge occurs at the time of high tide. Now, everybody who is in the path of this storm, if I were you, I would look up, especially it's just mainly on the coastline. Just on the coastline. If you live on the coastline of any of the states it's going to hit, if I were you, I would certainly look up when high tides are coming up. And if it looks like the storm's coming through when the tide is high, you know it's going to be worse than it would if it wasn't high tide. Simple as that. Now, Jupiter Inlet and the Bonita Beach area, including the Florida Keys, 5 to 10 feet storm surge. The deepest water, of course, is going to occur along the immediate coast in areas of onshore winds where the surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. This is going to create flooding, and the flooding depends on all the things we've just said with the timing of the surge and the tidal cycle, okay? You need to check on when you may have high tide, okay? And we'll hop on down here right quick now. We don't have to go through that. I told you about the tides and what you need to do. Now for the Turks, 15 to 20 feet, southeastern central Bahamas, 15 to 20 feet. This is storm surge. Northwestern Bahamas, 5 to 10 feet. Northern coast of the Dominican Republic, 3 to 5. Northern coast of Haiti and the Gulf 1 to 3. Northern coast of Cuba and the warning area 5 to 10. Now, hurricane conditions are expected to continue within this warning area in the Dominican Republic and Haiti tonight. Hurricane conditions already affecting the Turk Islands and the ones around them. Tropical storm and hurricane conditions are beginning in the southeastern Bahamas and will spread into the central Bahamas by tonight or early tomorrow. And then the hurricane conditions are expected within the hurricane warning area along the north coast of Cuba late Friday and Saturday. And hurricane conditions are expected in the northwestern Bahamas Friday night and Saturday. I know some people that are desperately trying to get out of the Bahamas right now. Hurricane conditions are possible within the watch area in Florida by Sunday. Let's highlight that. Okay, want everybody to see it well. Hurricane conditions are possible within the watch area in Florida by Sunday, with tropical storm conditions possible late Saturday. Okay, so it's going to start on Saturday. You're going to get your tropical storm conditions, and then by Sunday, boom, that's when you're going to get the most of it. And the rainfall from Irma is expected to produce, well, a lot of rain. We'll go through this, and I've got a few forecasts. I've had several people say, what about Atlanta, Georgia? Well, I've got something to tell you. I've also looked up Miami, and I've also looked up Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm going to give you best as I can. Please don't hold me to any of this, folks, because it can change. Okay? I'm doing the best I can trying to give you this information. This is just something for you to think about, something that may happen just like I tell you, something that may not happen just like I tell you, but it should be a general guide to go by. That's the key. Okay, according to the National Hurricane Service, Puerto Rico and the British U.S. Virgin Islands, 1 to 2 inches, Bahamas and Turks, 8 to 12, also Bahamas 12 to 16, some isolated 25. Northern Dominican Republic and northern part of Haiti 4 to 10, isolated 15. Southern Dominican Republic and southern Haiti 2 to 5. Eastern and central Cuba 4 to 10 with isolated 15 inches. Southeast Florida and upper Florida Keys 8 to 12 inches with isolated 20 inches of rain. Okay, everybody, there you see it. As a matter of fact, I got in my thing. You could get 20 inches of rain. I'll tell you what I found out trying to narrow it down in a few moments. But southeast Florida and the upper Florida Keys, 8 to 12 inches, with isolated places getting 20 inches of rain. The lower Florida Keys, 2 to 5 inches, okay? We know about the surf. Don't get in the water. Not this time, okay? You've got to be very, very, very careful. These swells are going to be just awful. And you just need to be very cautious. This is not a time to play. This is a time to do what you need to do. Keep your head on straight. Be thankful for what you got. Prepare for the worst. And pray and hope for the best. Okay, I showed you this earlier. It's the storm surge page for warnings and watches, and what you are looking at, everything that is this color, very light purple, kind of violet-like, this is a watch. This is watch areas, and I will blow it up. I'm not going to go to the individual towns of how many feet above water yet because it's too soon. We need to wait a day or two, and, well, maybe tomorrow night. First thing Saturday morning for sure we'll have a better grip of how much surge could possibly be going to happen. We don't know yet. You can't measure it. All you can do is assume and go by what you've seen in the past. But one thing about this storm, let me blow this map up for you right quick. I want you to realize that from get-go, okay, that from get-go, here, we'll get it up a little higher. The storm surge is on both sides of the state at this point when it hits, okay? And it does run from Jupiter, the watch area, all the way through all the towns. You know where you live. There's Homestead. Now the Keys, I have noticed one thing. I'm not going into everything, okay? It looks like it's a little bit, they got a few little hills and bumps and beeps and mountains, you know? Nothing extravagant, but there it is. And there's Key West right there. I have noticed that when it gets over to the other side or after the Keys, right up close to where the alligators like to live, I'll put it that way, that looks like a tremendous, maybe 12 foot or more, okay? But like I say, I'm not going to go into numbers and digits right now. That's really not important. The important thing is for you to see exactly where they're trying to tell everybody a watch is. And you folks will have a warning coming up. And I will go at a later date, maybe sometime tomorrow, first thing Saturday morning, and I will plot that out for you, okay? But you see how far this goes. You see how far all of this goes and how it goes around. So, that's your storm surge. You're in a warning. Take heed. Now we've got the water vapor loop going on. You can see all three. And while you're looking at this, I'm going to read you a little bit of what I have found out in my notes about what the weather may be like in your area, okay? I had several people, Atlanta, Georgia. Well, it looks like at this point, you're going to be getting light rain starting sometime around Sunday, and much rain come Monday into Tuesday. Now, the rain Tuesday should slowly taper off, okay? And it should taper off in the afternoon on Tuesday. And your winds in Atlanta, they're going to start off around 15 miles per hour, you know, just like a nice little tropical breeze. And they're probably going to get up to around 30 miles per hour, and then they're going to start to die down after a while also. So that's what it's looking like so far as wind and rain that I calculated up for Atlanta at this time. Now, Charleston, South Carolina, your wind should start to pick up around 22 miles per hour sometime around midnight Sunday. Now, then they're going to steadily increase to around 70 to 75 miles per hour. And around 8 p.m. on Monday, it's looking like they should start to decrease Tuesday around 4 a.m. And then by 8 a.m., be just a mere 12 miles per hour or so. So far as rain goes, you possibly very easily could pick up a good 3 to 4 inches of rain. That's for Charleston, South Carolina. For Miami, oh wow. You're going to get at least 10 inches, and we just saw in the report from the National Hurricane Center as much as 20 probably in some of the isolated areas. But as a whole, I'm going to say around 10 inches, and it's probably going to be more, but that you can expect that. Now, and that's from start to finish. This is from the starting point to the finish, okay? The wind should start to pick up Saturday around 9 a.m. at about somewhere between 35, 38 miles per hour. And they will increase rapidly. Now, I'm telling you, they're going to increase rapidly. 80 to 90 to 111 to around 122 miles per hour at least, before starting to descend back down. By around 5 a.m. on Monday, the winds hopefully will be back down to around 25 miles per hour. That's for Miami. Now, you've been sitting here looking at this water vapor loop. What I want to show you is why Katika, or ever how you say her name. I'm not going to sit here and fumble over it. You guys know the storm over here, okay? I've heard like 12 different weathermen say it a different way. Who knows? It's a hurricane. See this system right here? This has a lot to do with the steering of keeping Irma down, and it has a lot to do with this system. And it's why this system over here is going so slow or stalling. It's pushing it down and it's staying right there because this system hasn't moved far enough down yet to make anything happen. That's why I wanted to point that out to you. I'll take off the systems, I'll put on the tracks. Here's the tracks right here. You can see the different times. And this is the track of Jose. See how Jose is going to meet right up in some of the storms of Irma, the rain bands, I should say, some of the rain bands, but they should not affect each other, okay? Hopefully they're not going to get together. They shouldn't get together, and this is the way they should go. Now, according to all consensus, the European model at this time is your best bet to go by. The GFS and the European are mostly in agreement. Some are just a few degrees one way or the other different. The speed may be a few miles per hour or hours ahead or behind each other, but as a whole, it's all about the same area, okay? We're going to come up here. I've made this where the sucker goes all the way to Knoxville. Can you see that? Here it goes. Here it is down here now. We want to check out, after all of its up and down fluctuating with intensity, what it looks like the National Hurricane Center is forecasting for it when it starts to be right above Cuba. 155 miles per hour. Category 4. This is on 9/9 at 2 p.m. Okay, now let's see. This is looking up here around the Miami Freeport area. On Saturday the 10th, 130 miles per hour, a Category 4. Longitude 26.2 north, 80.7 west. Here we are up here in Georgia now. It's a Category 1 hurricane, 90 mile per hour winds. This is on Monday at 2 p.m. Latitude 31.5 north, longitude 82.0 west. Then at the next point they have is over here in Tennessee. It should be a tropical storm, and I don't even know if it will come up here. Yep, tropical storm, 2 p.m. This is on Tuesday, 45 mile per hour winds, latitude 36.0 north, longitude 84.0 west. Once again, we have to remember, we have to put down our models. I've looked at a zillion models. Oh, I can't remember your name. I think it's Bob. Bob, you sent me some excellent models, and thank you for that very much. And I want to remind everyone, I've had several people to contact me now about what's going on in their areas. And hopefully by tomorrow, we were going to do it today, but as it's working out, I'm not going to be able to do it. And my friend Philippe that was going to be with me in the Miami area, he's on his way right now to take his kin folks to the airport. I believe it's his brother and his sister-in-law. And he couldn't get with me now. He said traffic was horrendous. Usually it would take 45 minutes, but now it's probably going to be 2 hours before he can even get there, much less get back. So hopefully I'm going to be talking with Philippe tomorrow afternoon. And I have some others. And thank you guys so much for helping me and working together with me on this. It's the only way we know we have the truth, and it's to work together to help each other. So, you know how I love this track. This, my friends, the TBCN usually is pretty much on the money, as I've told you before. So let's make this just a hair smaller so we can get everything. And you can see it's just a little bit off of the National Hurricane Center's model. We have to remember this cone. Big old cone where it can go either way, but you can see how it's coming through, and it looks like Georgia, somewhere in Georgia, South Carolina, somewhere along in here. They agree. They really don't agree until it leaves this area, as I pick it back up for a second. And maybe we can make it a little bit even bigger here so we can see. It don't take all night to get here, huh? Here we go. Right in this area, right in here. It's looking now like it's going to be down south and more to the west of Savannah. Last night it looked like, closer to South Carolina, in between South Carolina and Savannah. But all that's changed. But it's such a big storm. None of this matters, people. That's one thing I have to agree with the National Hurricane Center on 100%. Storm is so big, it doesn't matter. Don't concentrate on where the eye's going, because you're going to run into something if it's nothing but drizzle for a long while at a long distance. Okay? And most of you guys are going to have thunderstorm activity, if nothing else. I can have thunderstorm activity way over here where I live from it. So keep that in mind. And that's your update, your evening update for what's going on with all these hurricanes right now. I will give you a little tip. After Irma's gone, after Katia's gone, after Jose is gone, another system appears, of course. I don't think it's going to do much, but then another system appears. And it could turn into another monster storm, I think. Keep your eyes open, people. Let's hope it don't. Everyone should at least have their kits ready by now, and everybody should have a plan. I love you guys. Thank you for watching so much. Thank you for the tips. I appreciate that very much. One day I'll make a video and I'm going to throw out some names, alright? But I just can't. I don't have time to do it now. I appreciate it, though. I'm really tired. This takes a lot of work to do. Thanks for subbing. Thanks for upvotes. Thanks for following. I just love you guys so much, and I'm really trying to help everyone I can to know what's going on in my heart with the best of my knowledge. I really care about you people. So hang in there. Keep your chin up. With the good Lord's will, I'll see you in the morning with an update, okay? In the meantime, try to have yourself the best kind of evening you can have. I know some of you are in very hectic places right now with a million things running through your mind. But just hang in there. Okay? Just hang in there. We're all here for each other. Remember, be kind to each other. I'm not going to go through what you need and who you need to check on. You know by now. Each of you have a good night. The good Lord's will, I'll see you in the morning. Remember, keep your eyes on the sky and everything around you.